Hi, welcome to That's Grace Monday Morning Talk. I'm Dasan Watson, and today I want to speak to you about understanding the track record of God. Isn't it very human of us to think that if God did something one way yesterday, He's going to do it the same way today? Well, I don't know about you, but it happens to me a lot. Where I believe that, listen, God, I said it yesterday, this is how you're going to do it today. But I want to encourage us all today that that is not how God's work. That is not how God works. His track record does not need to go through a set of processes that is mastered before he can say, listen, yeah, I saw it go. No, that is the human concept of a track record. But for God, he can do something today this way and tomorrow he does it a different way. And we see that in his 5 miracles. All 5 miracles that Jesus did while he was on earth, they were done in 5 different contexts, and he did them in such different ways, and I believe he did it intentionally to show us that I have the capability of working different miracles in environments where you don't think that a miracle like that is even possible. So let's look at the first miracle. In the first miracle, Jesus raised the widow's son. Now the only thing Jesus said to the woman was, do not weep. And he looked at the son and he said to the son, the exact words, he said, young man, arise. That's all he said. And the miracle done. Now for his second miracle, this was feeding the 5,000 people. No, what he did this time, the disciples were saying, run the people away. And Jesus said, no. Don't run them away. You feed them. And in saying that, that was when the disciples went out and asked if anybody had food. And we know the rest of the story where God took the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fishes and he multiplied it for the over 5,000 people. And it shared and enough was left back for the disciples to eat. More than enough for them to eat. Now in the third miracle, this was the healing of a paralyzed man where 4 men, there was a big crowd that Jesus was teaching and they couldn't reach through. So what they did when they went on top of the roof and they cut out whatever, depending on how the house was built back then, and they lowered the man in front of Jesus from the roof. And it's so funny because in this situation, what Jesus said to the man was, young man, your sins are forgiven. And then he said, take up your bed and walk. So in all these 3 scenarios, God could have done something repetitive, but he didn't. Sorry, Jesus could have done something repetitive, but he didn't. Because that's not how he works. If we look at the very same scenario where in the first case, he spoke to the woman's dead son and he said, arise. No, I can only believe that the persons in Lazarus' story were expecting him to do the same thing, where they were saying, listen, if Jesus reached in time, he can speak to Lazarus' sick body and call it forth. And I can only imagine that, alright, after Lazarus died, they said, alright, if Jesus reached, no, he can still call forth Lazarus' body, because he did it before with the widow's son. So he has a track record of calling forth people who just dead to life. And but Jesus never did that. He allowed Lazarus to die, bury, and rot before he came, because he needed to show us that, listen, I, Jesus, who raised that boy, can raise a dead man who is rotting. I am that same Jesus. So don't think that my track record means that I'm going to be doing it the same way. My track record means, and I'm speaking as if I'm saying it from Jesus. My track record is, I always deliver. That's it. Full stop. Now I don't know about you, but for me, when I was praying and asking God to make provision for me to go to school, in my head, provision meant full scholarship, money to pay for all the books, and where at the beginning of the year I was seeing all the money to go to school and to have a nice life where I would not have to worry about anything financially. That was my idea of God providing finance for me to go to school. But that's not how God did it. And I can only imagine that that's not how God did it for many persons. For some person, God's provision came through a student loan, or and for who couldn't borrow a student loan, his provision came through a family member lending you the money, or even paying for it, but in different ways. God's provision is not one way, but his track record is that he will definitely deliver. So as you go through your week this week, don't limit God's blessing. And don't limit him and say, listen, his track record only means this. No, his track record is beyond all earthly limits. Just know that he will deliver, he will provide, he will never leave you, he will never forsake you. That is what you need to go for, knowing that God will always deliver. Okay, guys? Alright, so I thank you so much for listening. I hope you were blessed this morning. And share this video. But don't just share it to everybody in your broadcast list. Alright? Pray about it and say, God, who should I share this with? Because sometimes it's just 5 persons that need this message, and you're busy trying to send it to everybody. No. Share this message with who the Lord bids you to send it to. Be blessed, live in grace, and stay tuned for next week. Yes. We come with a very nice topic. Yes, I have a very special person. Yes, you know, I can't get the people, the nice people there. To come and talk about something that I know you guys will love and I know you guys would appreciate. So stay tuned for next week, Monday morning talk. God bless, live in grace,